Hey guys. Okay, tonight we are going to make what I call enchilada casserole. I'm fixing to go over the ingredients here in just a second, but kind of wanted to tell you how this recipe came about. My husband loves enchiladas, and so we used to make enchiladas where we would take the corn tortillas and like fry them in a little bit of oil and put them in enchilada sauce and put the filling in and roll each one up and put them in a pan and do all that. And it was a process. It was very time consuming, and it kind of took two people to do it. So we really wanted to have enchiladas more often than really what our time allowed to do all of that. So then I came up with an idea of, let's just lay the tortillas out and make this easier on ourselves. So that's how this came about. So it's basically kind of like unstuffed enchiladas in a casserole form. So we're gonna need about 2 pounds of ground beef. This is, I think, 2 1/4 pounds. You will need some bell peppers. I like the colored bell peppers. I'm gonna use 2 of them. You can use green or whichever ones you want. If you don't like peppers, leave them out. You'll need a large onion. I have a 1/2 of an onion in my refrigerator. So I may do 1 1/2 onions just to use that up. You will need taco seasoning or whatever seasoning, however you want to season your meat. We season our ground beef when we make enchiladas like tacos. So I've got my favorite taco seasoning. You can season it however you want. I'm also going to add a can of black beans to my meat mixture once it's done, just to make it a little heartier. And because I have it, I don't normally do this, but because I have it in my cabinet, I'm going to use it. I'm going to put in a can of mild rotel, but I don't usually add it, but I think I will tonight. You will need a pack of corn tortillas. I like the yellow corn. You can use whichever kind you want. This really doesn't do well with flour tortillas because they get soggy. We prefer the corn tortillas. You will need enchilada sauce. This is the kind that I buy, and I buy the mild. And I have a big can and a little can, a 28-ounce can and a little can, because I'm not exactly sure how much I'll need. So I always like to have extra, just in case sometimes I may want to, drizzle a little bit over the top. So we have enchilada sauce, and then your favorite cheeses, whatever cheese you want to use. I'm going to use Monterey Jack and sharp cheddar. You can use whatever kind you want. And I think that's everything. So I'm fixing to go ahead and get my vegetables chopped up and get my ground beef going in the skillet and dump my onions and bell peppers in and get that all going. And then I'll check back with y'all in just a minute. Okay guys, I've got my meat and vegetables cooking. I'm gonna see if I can show you real quick kind of how I cut up my vegetables. Y'all see I left them in big chunks because it's going to cook here and then it's going to cook in the oven, and so I don't want them to disintegrate. I want to be able to taste them and have that texture in it. So if you've got kids that don't like those vegetables, of course you can leave them out, but if you want to sneak them in, just chop them up real fine. And once you cook them here and cook them in the oven, it'll be hard to see them in there. So I'm getting this going. I also wanted to tell you to go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 and get you a casserole, an 11 by 13. I don't think I told y'all that earlier. Get you a casserole pan ready, 11 by 13. And you can make this with lots of different meat. I have made it with chicken. Sometimes, I may make, in the Instant Pot, like salsa chicken, where you kind of shred it up and you can use it for burritos, tacos, all that kind of stuff. Well, sometimes I may have some of that left. I'll use the chicken, shredded chicken in this. I have had leftover pork roast that I have shredded up and kind of made like carnitas with it and seasoned that meat up and put it in this casserole. So it's a really great casserole to use up some leftover meat that you might have, but it's also really easy just to brown up some ground beef, make you some, you know, what we call taco meat. Just make you up some of your favorite taco meat. And I've also used ground turkey instead of beef. Make that up and throw this casserole together really easy. So I did want to come on and tell you those couple of things. So I'm going to continue to cook my vegetables. I'm going to start shredding my cheese. I'm probably going to use about half a block of each of these. These are 16-ounce blocks, so I'll probably do about 8 ounces of each. So I'm going to get those shredded up, get my meat cooked. My oven's already preheated. So then I'll show y'all the next steps once the meat's done. All right, guys, I'm back. I have drained. I've cooked down my ground beef and onions and peppers. You see where those are shrunk up a lot, those vegetables, but they're still intact, so you'll still get to taste them. I'm fixing to dump in my taco seasoning. And again, you can use your favorite taco seasoning, homemade, season it however you want. 1.5 cups water. And I'm gonna get this stirred all around. And y'all remember that trick I showed y'all, which I think everybody knows about it, but you put a piece of aluminum foil in your sink to catch the grease from your meat, and then just let it cool off and solidify, and then you can just throw that away and you don't have to worry about dumping that down your sink. Okay, now I'm fixing to add in my can of rotel. All right, and my black beans that I drained in the sink. And I've got onions left in here from where I drained my meat. There we go. All right. So we just kind of want to cook this until the seasoning is all the way through the meat and your liquid's kind of getting absorbed. All right. And so here is where you would want to taste it and adjust your seasoning to your liking. That's really good. It's got a lot of flavor in it. So I think that's good enough for me. So I'm going to turn that off. And then we're going to get ready to start assembling our casserole. Okay, guys. I've hopefully got this where y'all can maybe see kind of what I'm going to do. So we're going to start assembling our casserole. So I've got my big can of enchilada sauce. So I'm just going to scoop some down in the bottom of my casserole, because we do not want those tortillas to stick, and we want to give them some of this enchilada sauce so they're not plain. So I'm just going to lay these right out of the package down here on the bottom, and you can just kind of break them to get them to fit. But don't drop it on the floor. Get them to fit. And And I kind of like to double up on my layers a little bit just because I like the tortillas. So I just kind of go around, I make one layer, and then I kind of do a little different pattern for the next layer. Kind of like that. All right. So that's my first layer of tortillas. And now I'm going to put some more of this sauce on here, because you want these tortillas to soak up this sauce so they'll cook. Okay? All right. So now we're going to add our meat. And I may have too much meat, I don't know. But we're gonna see.
Hey.
I'm just taking a ladle and I'm scooping this just to however I want it. And you can do as much or as little of this as you would want. Since I did double layer tortillas, I'm using a lot of meat, so I used almost all of my meat. I might as well just go ahead and put it all in there. And now if you wanted to, you could do this like a lasagna, and you could do tortillas, meat, tortillas, meat, tortillas. I just don't want to fool with all that. I'm trying to make my life as easy as possible. So now I'm going to go in with some of my cheese that I shredded. And again, I'm using Monterey Jack and Monterey Jack cheese and cheddar, sharp cheddar. So I'm going to put some of that on there, and I want to leave some for my top. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back in with our tortillas again. And now we're going to make another layer of tortillas. You can totally cook these tortillas beforehand. I have done it. Actually, we probably prefer it cooked just a little bit, just because they hold their structure better and it gives them a little bit more flavor. But when you have a family, sometimes you just don't have time for all that. Okay, so, all right. So you see how I just kind of covered that up with my tortillas. I did, again, because I only have one layer of meat, I did a double row of tortillas on both the top and the bottom. So now I'm going to go back in and cover these with the enchilada sauce. And be careful not to let it overflow. But you want to make sure that these tortillas get this enchilada sauce. And as you can see, this makes a huge, look at that, y'all. One can was the perfect, 128 ounce can was the perfect amount. Okay, now, so now we've got that. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cover it with foil, and I'm gonna put it in my oven for probably about, I'm gonna let it cook maybe 15 minutes covered to try to let some of the tortillas cook a little bit. Then I'm gonna take it out, uncover it, put my cheese, the rest of my shredded cheese on top, and put it back in the oven and cook it until it's bubbly and the cheese is brown. So I'm gonna get this covered up, get it in the oven, and I will check back with y'all on all my exact times for everything. But oh, y'all, that's heavy. But there's our almost finished casserole. So I'm gonna get that in the oven and I'll check back with y'all in just a little bit. All right, guys, this has been in the oven for about 20 minutes. I'm gonna take the top off. It probably could go a little bit longer, but we're getting anxious to eat. You can see some steam coming off of it. So we're gonna go ahead and put our cheese on top. Erin, you wanna start putting some cheese on it? All right, so we're gonna put what's left of our shredded cheese from earlier. Good job. And we're gonna put that on the top. Okay. And you can add a little bit more if you want to. This was all I had shredded up. So I'm gonna go with that. So I'm gonna stick this back in the oven and it will probably cook another 15 or 20 minutes. So that's gonna be a total of 35 to probably 45 minutes. So I'm gonna keep a check on it so my cheese doesn't get too brown. I like my cheese to get a little brown around the edges, so I like it to go a little longer. But I'm gonna go ahead and stick this back in the oven and then I'll check back with y'all when it's done. All right, guys, I just took it out of the oven. It cooked for about another 25 minutes or so, 25, 27 minutes. You see I've got that nice brown cheese around the edges. The sauce has bubbled up. So I'm gonna let it rest for probably about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll get it plated up and do a taste test. Check back with y'all in about 10 minutes. Hey guys, we're back. I've got my taste tester here with me, Erin, and I let the casserole cool down for about 10 or 15 minutes before we cut a piece. Still kind of got a little, fell apart just a little bit, but that's okay. That's what makes it good. So I wanted to show you the final piece here. That's what it looks like. You can't really see the layers. You know, we put a lot of ground beef in it, so I've got a little bit of extra there around the side. So that's what the piece out of the casserole looks like. This is a huge piece too. But I wanted to show you kind of how we eat it. You can totally serve this with rice or refried beans or whatever you want to do, but this is how we love to eat it. So underneath this pile of stuff is a piece of that enchilada casserole. That's why I had to have two bowls, because you can't see how it turned out like this. So what we like to do is put shredded lettuce on it, taco sauce or salsa, whichever you prefer, some sour cream, and then I've got a little bit of avocado, cilantro, little sauce or dressing, just store-bought, that I put on there too. So that is how we like to eat it. And the casserole is under there somewhere. So, all right. So this is Erin's bowl. So let's see if Erin will taste it for us and let us know how it is. All right. All right. Are you gonna taste it? That might be hot, so be careful. Is it good? You want me to get you some of the casserole part? Oh, look, there's some of the casserole part, Erin, right there. All right. Is it good? I know you want to go in there and finish eating. All right, can you use your talker to tell us if how you like it?
Bad.
Bad?
Good.
Oh, good.
Yummy.
Good, yummy. Okay. Did you hit bad by mistake? Yeah. Okay. All right. So that's it. Thank y'all for calm down. Thank y'all for joining us, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.